What is apathy? So, in this episode, The Only Way, episode 2, we're going to be talking about what is apathy, what is our relationship to apathy, and our experiences around it, and how God it motivated and inspired us to get out of such situations. So, to begin, I'd like to start by asking both my father and my brother what is apathy to them, and what is their experiences with it.
Hello, everyone. So, to me, I hope we can hear each other here. To me, I feel like the apathy is just sometimes we lose interest in what our goals are because of life in general, and because of the lack of interest in our goals. If something in life just happens to happen, to me, that's what apathy means. We may have many differences of what we think about what apathy is, but it's just the lack of interest or enthusiasm, which can happen to so many of us because we're bogged down with life in general, and our clarity is not really there, and that's why it's very important to have a set of goals, but not only just goals, but an understanding behind your goals. Yeah.
Well, I think apathy means to be hopeless, and to be hopeless means not to have a path or a way to go. And when you're hopeless, you feel like you're lost, and you can't do anything. You're unmotivated to do anything because you're hopeless. You can't find a reason to do anything. It's basically like someone asking you to break a wall down with no tools. You're gonna ask yourself, how do I do this? How am I gonna start this? You're hopeless. You're just gonna sit there and keep thinking about it. So, yeah, that's what I think hopelessness means. Apathy means.
Since I asked the question, I have to answer it. But I think apathy to me means, and the way I've seen it portrayed in the way world is, the way society is it. A lot of people just seem to lose hope, and they think that everybody else does things for their own interest, and because of that, this is where apathy really stems from in our society. People are extremely hopeless nowadays, and to me, it's a state of being where you don't know what to do with your life. It's a lack of purpose, lack of path, as Jaden said, lack of interest, as my dad said, and that's what it means to me. So to move on, we're gonna be talking about our experiences with apathy, and I can give a little example of how I felt hopeless and I felt like lack of motivation, lack of purpose, lack of faith was probably just over a few months ago, or maybe a year ago, when I was just constantly playing games 12 hours a day, 6 hours a day, not really having anything. I would always tell myself, oh, I'm gonna go pro, and never really put in that effort to do it. It was more of a way to excuse my own faults, my own vices. That was the perfect excuse, I'm gonna go pro in this video game that I never actually put the effort to go in. So that's one of my examples. I'm sure I have many more, and I can go more in depth in that, but I want to share the mic with one of these guys.
Thank you though for your wisdom there, because as he's talking, I'm also collaborating ideas and trying to think about some good points. And for me, I've had a lot of moments in life where I've had lack of interest, or I was hyped for a certain goal, doing just in general, just life itself, as for an example, actually just one just popped in my head when I went for my license. Something that we all have to have, right, in life in order to drive a car. You can't drive a car without a license. For those of you out there who think you can, please do not get behind the wheel unless you have a legit license. So I myself went for it, and I thought I was going to, pass the test. And I was confident. I was very confident, to be exact. And I got in the car. I'm thinking I'm doing everything well. And even though I felt confident, I was actually lacking the motivation to actually be 100% confident, and having the number one goal is faith. You know, faith is something that you have to have. You know, your spirit has to have a reason to act. You know, and if we're not feeding the spirit, you know, the right words when we wake up in the morning, because it's not just about the food, it's about the mind and about the spirit, and we all, like, that's how we bring home our ideas, if that makes any sense. So I didn't have any of that in the process. I was just going under my own understanding, to be exact. And you know, because I watched so many videos and I reviewed so many guidelines, I got this. And when I did everything that I thought I did right, the instructor told me, "You did very well, but you ran over a stop sign or something, or a rolling stop, actually, a rolling stop." And he didn't know, because I didn't let him see, but he crushed my world that day. He literally crushed my world, because I had already had plans. I had already had plans to have a car already in place, and you know, I was ready to go ahead and drive. You know, just drive out of that DMV with my not my permit, my actual license. And you know, I got home, and the closest thing to me that was as cold as ice, because that's how I felt. I felt really cold. I felt like an ice cube. You know, heartless, if you want to say, because what he told me was heartless. I threw myself on the floor, and I became one with the floor. And I was not motivated. I was actually just gone, you know, over something so that could have been done a little bit better, or just the acceptance of failure, something I did not accept. I didn't want to accept failure, but that moment, that day, after a few days, it opened up my eyes. And now that I look back, knowing what I know now, I could have reacted to that a little bit different. But that to me was hopeless. Like, I felt really, really hopeless. I don't know if you guys ever had a moment like that, but that was my hopeless moment.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more to come like that, but just like the one scripture that you've said, I have not memorized it yet, but confidence in an unfaithful man.
Yes,
Which is
Proverbs 25:19.
confidence in an unfaithful man is like a broken tooth or a foot without a joint.
Yep.
That's where, like, when he said his first beginning of that story, that's where I remembered. I'm surprised you didn't say it. I don't know what you're thinking about it.
But that's good that you remembered
Yeah.
it. See that? That's good that you remembered it.
Yeah,
Look
and
at that.
not to jump off the second part of your story, it's like a lot of people, just simply, and then I'll pass it on to Jaden. A lot of people, they prepare for the future when they over prepare for the future, or they plan for the future when they still have like a test to pass. I feel like a car exam or a car test is like a good example of that. Like, a lot of people, they prepare for what they can do after they pass such a test, and then when that test hits them, or that temptation hits them, whatever it is at that time, then they fall. It's like the whole world caves in, like everything caves in their life.
Well, an example, you know, I can give about 2 years ago. An example I can give about 2 years ago, I was, you know, very heavily influenced by the people, you know, that was around me, especially just, you know, mainly at school. But I was, you know, at school, because, you know, when you're in a place with a lot of people, you know, and especially with this day and age too, is like you kind of want to be like other people. And so, like, about 2 years ago, you know, I was heavily influenced by the people around me, and I wanted to, you know, be like them because I thought they were cool. And so I tried, you know, acting like them, or whether I was like, you know, dressing like them because I thought it was cool. You know, it's just how influenced we are nowadays. And you know, because I never reached a standard, because I never was like them, I felt hopeless, because I was like, wow, why can't I be like them? And then finally one day it just clicked to me. It's like, why do I have to be? I don't have to be like them. Like, that's that's how I got rid of the hopelessness, because the apathy, because I was like, why do I have to be like them? Why can't I be better than them, actually? And so the hopelessness went away because I stopped trying to reach there. I stopped trying to be like them, and then be like me and be better than them. Because when you really think about it, you can be better than anybody as long as you really put your mind to it. So
Yeah.
Amen.
I feel like being better than someone else is something to get you out of the dump. Definitely trying to. A lot of people don't like to compete nowadays. Like, they think competition is too masculine, too aggressive for such a society that we live in. But realistically, as a man, as a kid, as a boy, like, you need to compete with others to grow. Like, you need that friend who can challenge you to become your best version of yourself, and then you need yourself to challenge your friend and become the best version of yourself, so y'all can reach and surpass your limits. And that's what Jaden did, but it was more one-sided. He competed against his friend to become better, not friend, but against his people to become better than them, to get that motivation to become better than them, because he just looked at them and he didn't want to be like them. He wanted to be superior to them, not in a bad way. See, many of us would hear superior and think of something that you just don't want to hear that, because it's just, we don't like to compete nowadays, but competition is sometimes it's what we need.
And just to kind of stay on that same subject, as far as like how accepting, right? Accepting that, one is wrong or one is right, is very, very important, because without the acceptance of understanding that this happened for a reason. A lot of us believe that, we always ask, why did this happen to me, and because that's how you start your understanding or your sentence, you're automatically going to feel like this is a you thing, like this shouldn't be happening to me, and who are we to decide what things should happen to us or not? We're not really in control of certain things in life, but we can learn from it. And again, if we learn with the proper understanding, which is from the high up, which is above the Almighty, if we learn with the intentions of a godlike mind understanding, we can definitely see the error. We can also learn from that as well, what we can do better next time, because we're going to be thinking about, okay, we didn't do this right now, but next time we get an opportunity like this, we're going to do it a little bit better. We're going to navigate this a little bit better. But yeah, if you have anything.
No, I think we can move on to talk about our experiences, but let's talk about how God changed the way we were to become. We're not perfect now. We're not better than you now. No one's better than anybody else right now. Not at this stage. But how has God made us better than our younger self? How has God made us better than who we used to be? And I think that's it's perfect for this video or this podcast of talking about how we became better. To start, for me, I think my mind opener was definitely, I started watching like a whole bunch of YouTube videos on, like, I don't know, I just got recommended them. It was like a slow process for me. I was getting recommended them on like how to become better, how to become a better version of yourself. And eventually I was watching so much of them where it's like I learned about how bad some of the things I was doing was. And then I felt guilty doing them, which is a feeling you didn't feel before. And then you felt shame doing them. And shame is at the bottom of the spectrum of emotions, because shame means that you are fundamentally a bad person. You accept that you are fundamentally a bad person. And that is what I felt at that time. And that was my mind opener. And maybe that was, I didn't know God completely at the time, but I can see how, everything is His doing. So I can see how he put me in that slow process, that slow come up to like realizing just how some of these habits that I have, they need to change. Staying up till 2 a.m. in the morning, playing Fortnite, playing Valorant, like they need to change. Like going to school. I don't know what I was doing in school, but going to school, just going to school with no goals, nothing in mind, just kind of just sometimes talking to some friends, sometimes just getting the work done, like copying if it was available. Although I was doing pretty good in school, like I didn't need to copy anybody if I didn't need to. It was just copy because I didn't feel like doing the work sometimes. But I feel like all those habits, they need to change, and like eventually it got to a point where like I felt shameful of those habits. Like I said, shame is at the bottom of spectrum of emotions. Like it's the worst feeling you can get. There's nothing below it. Like once you feel shame, you have just accepted that you were not are, because now you've just made a 180 when you accept that you are a bad person, and now you're trying to improve. And that's what I felt, and that was I like to believe, and I honestly I know that was all God's doing. He put me in a path of hopelessness, so far down below the line, I guess you could say, so that I can then make a 180 and change my entire life around. Although I'm still a kid, so it's not. Most other people would look at it and they wouldn't understand how I changed my life, because when you're a kid, when you're young, like me and my brother, in the beginning it's all genetics. It's all like that's who's popular in school. It's all genetics. It's all looks. It's all physical appearance. You have no control over it. But what has been keeping me motivated is knowing that when I hit like age 25, it's not genetics anymore. Like that's hard work then. And the thing is that most people, they're not gonna put in that hard work. So 10 years from now, like I'm 16, so when I'm 26, I can look around and see my friends. I don't want to compare myself to them because they're not gonna be at my level by then. But I mean, that's just me making fun. But by that time, I can look around and be like, they did what I knew not to do at that time, and because of that, look, there's a difference. Like they might be going to the gym now, and I might be going to the gym now, but 10 years from now, are they still going to the gym? Because I know I am. I know he will, and I know my dad will when he's 50 still be going to the gym. So that's the motivator. It's not thinking about how much better you can be compared to someone now. It's how much better will I be 10 years from now? Will they still be alive when I'm 60?
Okay. Well, I think, for sure, I feel like before, I knew God, before I, was reading my Bible, and I still, struggle with this now, but I think it's a lot better if you ask me. But I struggled with, sometimes I would just, whether it was saying things, whether it was at home or at school, just saying things because whether I thought they were funny or I thought it was cool, or, acting a way out, behavior-wise, like acting a certain way because I thought it was cool or I thought it was funny. And I wasn't watching what I was saying or watching what I was doing. I was just doing it carelessly because, like I said, like there would be times in school when I would say something I think is funny and nobody, I just look like a fool because I'm over here just trying to say something that I thought was funny. Or if I'm at home trying to say something and I say something that's not right, and it's like, oh, I feel like now I feel like again a fool. And when I started reading the Bible and starting to know God, I feel like I started like thinking a lot more like, all right, was that really necessary? Like, did I have to say that? Was that that wasn't funny, that wasn't cool, like I shouldn't have said this? Or whether it's the way I'm acting, if I'm just acting, I don't know, like being I guess you could say, like, in a way disrespectful to somebody, or acting like I'm the tough guy or whatever. And I feel like before I knew God, I was definitely acting that way, and I was just trying to be the funny, cool guy, and now I kind of realized that like I don't gotta be that. I could just, even though I still mess up with that sometimes, because none of us are perfect, I still mess up with it, even though I try to be better at it. But when I do something that was not right, or I say something to somebody that was not right, you know, I think about it in my head. I'm like, okay, that was not smart. And I always, you know, I gotta keep on trying to be better at that, because I still struggle with that. So if you still struggle with that, just know it's not just you, because it's me too. I still struggle with it. But what you can do, and what we are gonna do together, is to try to be better, and to try to just get out of that, because it's hard. But once you get out of it, it's easy from there. So.
And just piggybacking from you, Jaden, because like you were saying, like there were some things that you were doing that you didn't see the wrong before in it, and then now you look back and you're like, whoa, I'm holding, that's like you holding yourself accountable. And accountability is something that we don't have for the majority of our lifetime, you know. Like we have that the lack of concern, being aware. And once you open up your eyes and you realize that you are not it, you're just a fraction of what this world is really all about, you know. And that is the love that God demonstrates for us. I mean, we have 5:8 Romans, where God demonstrates his love to us by, while we were sinners, Christ died for us. And then not only that, but if we go to 10:12 in Ecclesiastes, which I have a hard time saying this word, but 10:12 Ecclesiastes says that wise words out of a man's mouth shall sound gracious, and the lips of a fool shall swallow himself up. And how many times have we spoken like a fool, and not realizing that we've been swallowed up? We've been made into exactly what God doesn't want us to be. All right, because we're better than that. We're way better than that. And once we become, you know, more godlike, more, you know, walking in faith, right? Walking in faith, walking with Christ, we become more accountable. We hold ourselves accountable. We become more awake, and we realize that, whoa, what did I say? What was I doing this whole entire time? You become more like, now you're like, whoa, I need to really watch what I say. I need to really watch what I do, because my steps are now counted for. And that's the one thing that we fail to understand, is that every day counts, and what you do in this life counts. This life is very important, because we're not here for long. We're part-time. You know, we're not here forever. And because of that, every decision you make is counted for. Your moves from this point moving forward, if you haven't accepted Christ into your life, I urge you to take the time to become more aware, to gain an understanding why Christ gave us an opportunity to have a better understanding of what the meaning of love is all truly about. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Well, an advice I can give to the people watching, you know, one thing, you know, about maturing and, you know, just being better, is realizing that, you know, nobody really cares. Like you have to just like forget about what everybody thinks, and just, you know what's the best for you, and you gotta keep on climbing. You know, people are gonna tell you to come back down the stairs, but you're only 2 steps away, or you're only 3 steps away. You gotta keep on going up, even though they're hard to go up. You gotta keep on going up, and you know, the only person that's ever always gonna be there with you, no matter what, that you can always count on, is God. He's never gonna leave you. He's always gonna be right there helping you, you know, go up those steps. And you know, a lot of people in this you know, world, in this generation, care too much about what people think. You know, they want to dress like, you know, how everybody dresses on the social media, or, you know, act like how everybody acts, or have, you know, the newest, you know, and the iPhone everybody has. Everybody wants to be like everybody, and that's what makes everything just so not like it's not cool anymore. You know, it's lame. Everybody wants to be like everybody. You look at a line and you just see a whole bunch of gray people. Nobody's red. Nobody's green. Everybody's just gray because everyone wants to be like themselves, and it's because people keep thinking so much of what other people are gonna think, you know. And you gotta think about it. When you eat a piece of bread, do you count each crumb that fell on your plate? You don't. Nobody else is. Huh?
So they're all the same.
They're all the same. Nobody else is, you know, really caring that much, and you gotta forget about what other people care about. You know, you gotta just, you know what's the best. And once you find God, and once you know His word, and you start actually, you know, implementing that into your life and actually getting deeper in of God, you'll realize like you think to yourself when you see people in public, wow, that he's hopeless because he hasn't found God, and you can introduce that to them and help other people. But yeah,
I like that. I like the crumb thing as you said. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
like the crumb thing because it's like
That's pretty cool.
if you eat a piece of bread, you're not gonna notice any crumbs unless there's one different crumb.
Yep.
Unless it's like out of nowhere, there's one black crumb or white crumb. It doesn't really matter what color it is. Then you notice that one, and you're like, yo, that one's a little bit different.
Where did this crumb come from?
And then you don't want to eat it, so it survives.
Yep. I just want to say thank you if you are here still and you made it this far. This is like an Easter egg right now, because right now we're spitting facts, and we're actually, you know, we've been real to you, and you sticking around watching this video, you're being real to us, because now we know where your loyalty stands. And this is not about us. At the end of the day, this is about God. This is all credit and glory goes to the Most High. But I want to say, don't let others hijack your vision, because so many of us, without even knowing, have been hijacked. Without even knowing, you give someone your goal, and they tell you, they indirectly show you why you do not need to accomplish your goal, why there isn't or should be a finish or an end, to your story, right? Because we're out here trying to live our story. We're trying to make it to the end, and it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter where you start. It's where you end. That's what matters. And your vision should be straight. It should be a long one, because this is a journey that we're embarking here in this life. And you know, God is with you 100%. God is with you. Though I walk in the valleys of shadow of death, I fear no evil. I fear no evil, because He is with me. His rod and His staff comforts me, and He also leads me towards a righteous path in His name, right? So because of that, if you have that in your heart, your path is already set for success. It's going to be some obstacles in life, but like I said, don't let others hijack your vision, because you mean a lot. You mean a lot, and you mean a lot to the Lord. You mean a lot to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Your vision, it belongs to you. So that's my my advice to you, and not only that, but to myself. Because as I'm talking, I'm learning as I go.
That's just because something you said in there resonates something in here. So jumping off of what my dad just said, I've been reading this book, Kid Was Just Calling by Ryan Holiday. But you know, don't let other people hijack your vision. The thing that stuck out to me in this book and what he just said is that people have always people have always said something or criticized or judged a new product or a new idea that came out in life and throughout the entire history. Like if you come out with a new idea, people will always judge that idea the same way. I don't know, the same way when people first thought of like cars or airplanes, there was always this group of people that said that that's a stupid idea, the idea won't work. And then now when they see that like airplanes are flying around or the idea became true, they shut up and they almost ignore the fact that they've said any of that stuff. So people will always judge you. That people judging you is a symptom of success. So, and people hijacking your visions, people putting desires onto you, people forcing their own desires onto you. It's a symptom of success. The symptoms of success, they don't seem like symptoms of success because to us, success is a perfect path. It's a straight path. It's not. It's not at all.
I like that. And before we go, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And if there's anything in here that we may have said in this podcast that you enjoyed, please, like the video and comment down below.
Yes.
Because we would like that engagement. That feedback is what
we will
need.
respond to every comment, every single comment. If you want one of us specifically to respond, just ask for it. Just say the guy with the beard, the guy with the white shirt, the guy with the black shirt. He can respond. He wanted to say something, so I'll let him say something. But we're gonna respond to every comment.
And just one last thing, just for anybody out there who maybe wants to start going on this path, when you feel unmotivated, or you feel like you're being doubted because you're not gonna make it, when you fall, you don't just continue falling, you fall on the ground. That means that you can still get back up because the ground stopped you from continuing to fall into the void. You can get back up. So just remember that when you fell on the ground, you can push yourself back up and you can continue. So